Our next presenter is Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Malone is a physician and scientist who serves as the Chief Medical and Regulatory Officer of the Unity Project and President of the 17,000-plus strong International Alliance of Physicians and Medical Scientists. Dr. Malone also operates a consultant practice specializing for over 20 years in advanced development of medical countermeasures for infectious diseases, vaccines, and drugs. Dr. Malone is an internationally recognized scientist and the original inventor of mRNA vaccination, DNA vaccination, and multiple non-viral DNA and RNA/mRNA delivery technologies. Dr. Malone.
Thank you. Senator Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking to you not only as a physician and scientist, but also as a husband, father, and grandfather. I'm also a COVID and long COVID survivor, as many in this room are. In my opinion, we should not have politicized the public health response to SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19. This is a bipartisan issue, and the physicians represented here are truly a bipartisan group. I'm not, although I've been characterized as a right-wing Proud Boy, I've previously supported both President Obama and President Biden's campaigns. But the course of events have forced me to rethink a lot of my positions, and I think that's the case with many of my peers. In my opinion, many mistakes have been made. Many of those have been covered here. Now we need to look forward and base our management decisions on Omicron and the current science, rather than looking backwards to data from earlier phases of the outbreak involving virus strains which are no longer circulating. I'm a physician and scientist with more than 30 years, have worked as a vaccinologist and clinical researcher, focused on new vaccine technologies, drug repurposing, clinical research, and regulatory affairs. In fact, I have 2 major clinical trials currently ongoing with the support of the Defense Threat Reduction Agency and the leadership of Leidos, which I serve as a consultant to. Early in my career, during the late 1980s, I had a series of discoveries which led to 9 issued patents, which described the original platform technologies upon which the current mRNA vaccines are based. I've spent my entire career focused on developing ways to protect people from infectious disease threats, including both naturally occurring and engineered pathogens. I think a case could be made that whether you agree with what I say or disagree, it's certainly valid that I should have a role in discussing the current data. Regarding the currently available mRNA and adenoviral vectored vaccines, the science is settled. It's not a political issue. These vaccines are designed for the original Wuhan strain, but are mismatched for Omicron. They do not prevent infection, viral replication, or spread to others. In other words, the vaccines are leaky, they have poor durability, and even if every man, woman, and child in the United States were vaccinated with these products, they cannot achieve herd immunity. Furthermore, they're not completely safe, and the full nature of the risks remain uncharacterized. It usually takes us many years to fully understand the risks of vaccines and certainly new vaccine technologies. If there is risk, there must be choice. Dr. Kheriaty has just shared the legislative and ethical background for that, nicely summarized. Informed consent based on full disclosures of risks is an absolute necessity for any medical procedure. You all know this. When you go to the doctor, if you have a medical procedure, you go to the surgeon, they describe the risks, benefits, and allow you to make a choice. This is particularly so in the case of products used under an emergency use authorization. In contrast, Omicron is highly infectious, readily affects those that have been vaccinated, is generally associated with mild disease, and rarely, if ever, causes death. Mandating these vaccines makes no sense and is completely inconsistent with the core principles of Western bioethics, developed since the Nuremberg trials and codified in federal law as the federal common rule. If I may quote, in May of 1995, Nelson Mandela said, there can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. In my opinion, our public policies in managing this have had a particularly strong adverse effect on our children, and vaccine mandates for our children are completely unjustified at this point. In closing, I always like to try to end on a positive note. Americans are good people. We're committed to the importance of integrity, human dignity, and community. The world still believes in the importance of the American experiment, of American ideals, and still looks to us to provide leadership during these difficult times. I believe in the vision of the United States, in the vision of the shining city on the hill, in the vision of Camelot, and I have faith that we will be able to overcome these difficulties as we have had all prior challenges. It's time to come together and move forward using fact-based reasoning rather than outdated and politicized policies which are not consistent with current scientific data. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Malone.